In this video, it's time to dig into the archive. We're going way back to story time. I'm going to share with you a moment early in my career, actually even before my career even took off, that was quite a low moment for me. I want to highlight this in this video because you yourself right now might be going through a low moment. You might be feeling discouraged. You might be second guessing yourself whether or not this whole tech career thing is for you. And I want you to pay close attention to this low moment I went through in my life, how I navigated it, and the insights that I drew from it that I'm going to share with you. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Greg, creator of Thoughtful Techie Cloud. I create videos that help guide people on their AWS cloud and tech journey. Wherever you are on your journey, whether you're in a completely different industry and you're trying to jump into cloud, whether you're in IT now, but you're like in a desktop or help desk role, but you're trying to get more cloud focused, or maybe you're already in a cloud role, but you're working to get a more senior level position. I have tons of videos on my channel and I create videos every week. If you've already been enjoying my videos but haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that right now so you can be the first to get notified when I have new videos coming out. All right, so here goes. We go all the way back to spring semester of my sophomore year in computer engineering. I had an appointment to meet with my academic advisor, and this is the time of the year where you're going over your courses that you want to sign up for the following fall semester. In this case, I was preparing to sign up for courses and get that all lined up for the fall semester of my junior year. And I can remember this just like it was yesterday. I was sitting down with my academic advisor, and I'm looking at all the courses we're looking at, and we're talking about Physics 2, Calculus 3, I think it was Java, differential equations, circuit boards and logic, discrete math. It was absolutely crazy. I think it was like around 18 credit hours, and I was very concerned, like this was the biggest load of classes that I had taken, but my academic advisor said, okay, if you want to be on the trajectory to graduate in 4 years, you're going to have to start like piling all this stuff together. And I asked one question to the academic advisor towards the end of our session, and it was, do you think this is going to be too much? You think I can handle this? And I remember they very nonchalantly said, yeah, you'll be fine. And this was a moment in time where I really wish I had trusted my gut, but I didn't. I mean, how old was I then? I think I was 20 or something like that. And so I went with my academic advisor's recommendation and I signed up for everything. And fast forward to the fall of that year, fall semester of the junior year, things were not going well. Now looking back on it in hindsight, it wasn't that I couldn't have achieved in each individual course. It was the fact that I had just signed up for too much. I had literally bitten off more than I could chew. And I remember every time I would have an exam, like 2 or 3 classes would have an exam the same week. So I was having the context switch between too much. And I got to about October of that year, and I was also having mixed emotions about the whole focusing on the computer engineering, because up until that point, I used to love to build PCs. I used to like figuring out hardware and operating systems and that type of stuff. And nowhere in that college computer engineering curriculum were we doing any of that. I mean, we were literally soldering circuits on a circuit board, and making LEDs light up, which was kind of cool, but this is not what truly interested me. So everything kind of built up and compiled together, and I made the very tough decision around October of that fall semester of the junior year to literally just pull out of school, literally just drop out, because I was just on a crash course for the rest of that year. I had gotten some low grades in a couple of the classes, and this was particularly difficult for me because I had always achieved. So I'm not somebody that was used to failing. So this is one of my first catastrophic failures that really messed me up at the time. And I was in close communications with my parents, and we all collectively agreed that, you know what, until you feel strongly about what it is you want to do, let's just, come out of there. You can come back home and kind of regroup. And so that's what I did. Now, I'm coming back home, and I am from a very small town. I am leaving college life and all my friends that I made there, and I'm going back to my very small, low populated country area home that's not a whole lot to do. So I was there just for a few weeks trying to figure out, okay, what am I gonna do and what's the plan? So I thought, okay, I gotta get out of here. I can't be at home because in order for me to be able to bounce back, there's no resources to help me do that. So I gotta get back to the city from where the area that I just came from, where my college is located, and figure it out from there. So I'm looking for apartments, and I go apartment hunting to find something relatively cheap. I go back up to the city where these apartments are. I find the first job that I can possibly find to do anything. It was a retail job, and I was building bicycles. So just to and I think they paid me, I don't know, once every 2 weeks or something like that, just enough to pay the rent. And I was doing that for a while. And then after a few weeks, I can't even remember how this came to be, but I discovered some training boot camp that trains you for CompTIA certifications. I looked through several of the offerings here, and the one that caught my mind at the time was a CompTIA A+. And if you know anything about CompTIA A+ now, CompTIA A+ is a vendor-neutral certification that focuses on hardware and software and operating systems, and it gets into networking and database and compute and storage and all these fundamental IT concepts, and how to deconstruct the computer and build it from the ground up and all this type of stuff. And when I found this, I was like, yes, this is absolutely incredible, because what I needed something that I was familiar with, something that I was truly gifted with. So my parents were gracious enough to be able to make the sacrifice to sign me up for this CompTIA A+ curriculum. And I think the curriculum, it lasted about a couple of months, and you get the book, you get access to the training lab for all the hands-on stuff, and I'm going there every week, and I'm really pouring my heart and soul in. I just came off of a huge loss. I took a L there with dropping out of school, and I'm not really having that great, that high of self-esteem at the point. I was feeling like a huge, huge failure. I mean, I was definitely down in a deep, deep pit. But something about this boot camp that I had attended and doing this CompTIA A+, like the light bulb was just starting to go off. And this curriculum was playing to my strengths. And I got super prepared for this. And then I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I think I'm ready to sign up for this CompTIA A+ exam. Now, I had done my preparation at the fall of this year. So I think I finished my studying and preparation through December, very first part of January. I signed up and scheduled this CompTIA A+ exam, and at the time, this is my first IT certification ever. Literally, number one, the CompTIA A+. And fast forward to exam day, like I'm at exam day, I'm giving my ID and confirming my identity. The proctor walks me to my desk. They load up the test on there. I'm sitting down there. My heart's beating like 10,000 beats a minute. I'm going through all the questions. I'm nervous. Like I'm not sure if some of them are right or some of them are wrong. But I got to the end, and I do that mark for review. I'm going through and just double, triple checking everything. And then I hit that final submit button. And then I'm like just tensing up and cringing. I open up one eye and look, and I'm like, yes, got a pass. And I cannot tell you how awesome it felt to pass that certification, to see that pass, because I was researching job descriptions in parallel when I was preparing for this, and I realized that a lot of entry-level jobs, help desk in particular, required this CompTIA A+. So after I got that pass on that CompTIA A+, I went back immediately to my resume, and I added to my list of certifications the CompTIA A+, and I put that resume up, re-uploaded it back to about 2 or 3 different job boards at the time. And I had a company that called me in for an interview for a help desk support position. So we get that interview scheduled. I go out to the interview, and I think the interview was like an hour or something. They're asking me all types of questions, kind of at that hardware operating system, troubleshooting type stuff that I learned in the A+. And even beyond the A+, I just had a knack for this. I I'd already built PCs. I was troubleshooting the Windows operating system, and I was very familiar with DOS. MS-DOS is Microsoft Disk Operating System, which was very command line oriented. And I was just crushing this interview. Things seemed to go well, and I shook everybody's hand and jumped back in the car. And on my way home, before I even got home, I got a call on my mobile phone. It was the recruiter for the position. They wanted to offer me the job, and they asked me when I could start. The level of joy and fulfillment that I felt at this time was literally incredible. Because remember now, just a few months earlier, back in that fall of the previous year, I literally dropped out of college, and I felt the lowest of the low. I managed to pull myself up by the bootstraps and really do some self-reflection to figure out, okay, what is it that I'm really good at? What can give me a win right now to put me back on a trajectory to start winning again? And it was that CompTIA A+ training boot camp, studying and preparing for that, taking that certification exam, and ultimately passing that, updating that resume with that in-demand certification at the time, and landing that first help desk job. At the time I'm going through this, I'm thinking, okay, I'm a complete, absolute failure. My IT technical career is completely over, and it feels like the end of the world. But looking back at it in hindsight, having the growth and maturity of all these years I have under my belt now, I realized that I was just in a valley. In the valley, while it might be tough, this is where you learn a lot of lessons. And then when you get to the peak, these are where the celebrations occur. The lessons are in the valley, and the celebrations are in the peak. You might be going through a tough time right now. I'm hoping there's something I've said here today that can help you wherever you are in your journey, lift you out of that pit you're in. Don't be hard on yourself. Just call a time out, take a step back, and figure out how you can get out of the mess that you might have wound up in, if you're in one. Put that plan on paper. Work backwards from that plan to figure out what are the daily steps and behaviors that you need to demonstrate to put you on the trajectory to meet your goal. Now, before you go, I got a couple things here for you. There's a lot that happened after I got that help desk position. What I want you to do is to check this video out right here. This is where I take you from that position at the help desk, and I walk you exactly how I went through that help desk position and all the roles in between to finally become an AWS Solutions Architect. Don't be shy. Drop me a comment if you have any questions, because that's what I'm here for. That's to help you out. I'll see you in the next video.